Okay, so I have the seat cover off. What you basically have to do is taking this handle off. There's no clip or anything, you just have to use a little force to get this off. And then basically this cover, when you take the handle off, there is a screw behind which you have to unmount. And then it's basically all clipped, so you have a clip here, you have a clip here, you have a clip here, and you have a clip here. So you basically start pulling it from the back all the way to the front, and then you have to unscrew this switch here because you can't unmount this plug, and you unmount this plug, and then you basically have this out of the way. And then you see already the cover on the back is only clipped in with all these clips all around. In the front there is obviously a big clip here, and then you have to remove the connector here for the under support. And then when you have this done, you can basically start pulling this off. And then you see already in there, I don't know if you can see it, you have these metal clamps there, which you basically have to cut. And then I show you later how to use these special plier to get it back on. So I will go ahead taking this off, and then I will show you how to get in here also to put in the heated seat mat in both parts of the seat, and obviously also the cabling. Okay, so basically I'm now removing these hooks. So you basically just cut them. You can see it here very well where they're still existing. See these metal hooks here, and they basically go into the seat foam, and then they're holding the seat covers on these stripes here. And so you basically just cut them, and later on you will use new ones. So now we take the backrest off, and therefore we need to remove a bolt here, and then there's a bolt here, and then on the other side you have this cover, which is also mounted with this little screw. And when you take the cover off, there's basically a third screw here, and then you can take the whole back off. Okay guys, so now I removed already the seat cushion. So after I removed all the clips inside, I took the cover off, and then additionally I took the back support piece out. So you just have to rotate it, and then you move it into this direction. And then you basically have 4 screws here, over here, and then basically down there the same. And once you remove these screws, you can take the plate off the frame, and that allows you to remove the rest of the leather cushion, which is now over there. And the only thing you have to be a little careful, this is the crash tensioner, which then basically tensions the seat belt. So remove the cable, never touch the contacts with your fingers, never ever do this, and then put it back on, that's all. And then you basically have everything separated from each other. And now the next thing I will show you then is basically how to put the heated seat cover, the heated seats onto the cover, and how to align and cut this correctly. Okay, so now we have positioned the first heating pad onto the cushion. There are a couple of things which are important here. You always have to make sure that basically the heating pad is not wider than the actual seat where it gets mounted, so that must work, otherwise you have to buy another one. The second thing is, in the lengths, you should not cut this, but most seats are long enough that this fits perfectly. You can cut it a little bit on both sides here, as long as you don't cut into the material here. The next thing is, there is a sensor, a heating resistor sensor in here. That should be as much to the end as possible, because you should not sit on this, otherwise the temperature regulation is not correct. And then the last thing, the most important thing, after you position that, you already see my drawing here. So you push that basically into position here, and then you mark where you want to do your cut. Okay, and then you basically take this out, And now you will cut this area, and here's a very important part: never cut above these 3 lines here. So basically this is your plus side, that's your minus side, and you only cut inside here, and you basically stop here. Never cut through this, otherwise you can buy a complete new set. And never cut like this and this, always cut straight, so the flow of the current is still correct and not all over the place, so you can't do like a circle or anything like that. So let me cut this, then I basically tape it to the seat, and then I show you how that looks. Okay guys, so that should be your end product now. So basically I cut this out, what I marked here, and then I taped this with the tape which is already attached to the seat cushion. It's all nice and straight, there's no wobbling in there. That is completely free at the edge here. And then the sensor is at the back here, so at the end, so that's not where you're sitting on. And then also very important, you basically go right in here, right? So you don't want to have any tension on this. So this is how it should be installed when you're finished with this. So now let's tackle the back seat. Okay, so the upper seat cushion is relatively straightforward. You basically, these are clicked into each other, so you unmount them. And then you basically go into the seat cushion, and down here it's exactly, back here it's exactly the same. You have these metal clamps, you have to cut them with a plier. And then you take the seat rest up, and then you can basically move this completely up. There is a little tension on it, so you need some force, but it should usually work without problems. Okay guys, so I have the seat cover removed far enough, so you see you have a little bit of like tape here, removable tape, and then you have these 3 metal clips here. Again, you have to cut, and then you see it goes all the way up till basically here, which should be enough. I mean, if you would want to, you could try to push it in here, but I don't recommend this. So the bottom line is, we do the same thing now. We basically will glue it on like this, and we will cut a hole inside again to basically make room for these metal clips here. And as you see, I already shortened it because that was way too long. So you can shorten that without any problems, and in this case you can also cut through the stuff here where you're usually not allowed to. However, only always cut on this side and straight. Never cut obviously on this side. I mean, there are some people, they probably would try it out. So let me glue this on, and then I show you how it looks like. Okay guys, so basically we have the same done as on the bottom seat cushion. You see we have this cut out here correctly, and it lays nice and flat in there, and you can see it goes all the way to this point basically, and then here it basically stops correctly, so it doesn't rubber anywhere there. And you see that this is the temperature sensor again, so it's not directly where you back contact it, as much down as possible. And then the only thing I forgot to mention on the other seat, you see these metal bands here and here. These come with the seat cushions. It's the isolation tape. Very important that you basically put this on so you can't shorten the plus and the minus circuit with each other, because this is like a metal plate running in front of here. So if that contacts it here and here at the same time, you have a problem. So basically put these on. So now basically just put all these back together, and then we will put the cable nice out here to the side and basically attach it, and then I show you how to do the cabling and the switch at the seat, and then we put the seat back into the car, do the final cabling there, and then we should be done. Okay, so I want to show you really quick how these pliers work with these clamps. So you put the clamp into this plier, it's with a spring in it, so it's holding it, and then you basically go in here and you basically press it a little bit together, and now you press it down and go into the seat. And then basically you can see it here very well. This is how it's holding it back together then. Okay, so I'm done with the backs. And now here I'm basically done. So I did all the clamps in here. I renewed all of them. And then on the other side, I basically come out with the cable on this side, and be very careful. These edges here are like really sharp. So put some tape on it so it doesn't rub the cable through with the time. And then you just go around, position it, and basically clamp them all in again around the seat. And then put all the cables together, put it back on the frame, and then we're nearly done. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the electricity part on this retrofit. When the heated seats coming, they are equipped with a relay, a wiring harness, the two-way switch, which you see I put in here, and then the only not tricky but interesting part is I obviously have electric seats, right? So I already have plus and minus. Problem is it's permanent, so if I forget to turn the heated seats off, then it will drain my battery because it's not an ignition driven plug here. But the good thing is it is actually, since these electro servers are pretty strong, it is pretty good source of power. It's like a 30 amp circuit, and these heated seats take around 4 amps max, so that's perfect match. So what we want to do is we utilize the plus and minus here, and you saw I put in another connector in front of here, and at the car I only basically get one additional cable to the seat, which I can show you later, and that gets connected here, and that is then ignition driven, and so it goes from the ignition to here. And then you see, when you look in there, I put in a second relay, and the relay is basically connected to the plus and minus here, and the activation of the relay is done with that. So when I turn on the ignition, it engages the relay, and the relay connects this power to the actual seat, heated seat power. So that's the perfect solution for that, and you only have to get one very thin cable. Okay, last but not least, I want to show you the connection in the car. So up here, this is the original connector where I basically have the permanent plus and ground from. And then this white cable, which this is obviously just temporary, I will solder this together. You see I got this in here, and I basically got this all under the original cable pass. Make sure that you always use the original passes, which goes over here and then basically down there to the smart junction box, and there you just search for switched power. And then when we look at this now, so I have the ignition off now, and when you look at this, there is nothing working here, right? And as soon as I turn the ignition on, you will hear the click from the relay maybe, and there's the relay, and now it's working beautiful. So it's just staying on basically, and as soon as I turn the ignition off, it turns off. Even I only have permanent plus here. This is basically what I do with the second relay, and that works awesome. And you only need this little tiny cable here instead of running all these cables to the seat again. And that's basically it. And you see I put in here the connector, so when I remove this, I can leave this in the car, can take the seat out exactly as stock, and that's really it. And then you're done.